Hi, Facebook people. We are so excited to have you here as well. Again, I'm Jen Duplessis, and I'm so excited that you all joined me today. It's so hard in the summer, isn't it, to say, gosh, I want to really, push my experience and my personal development and growth into, um, into the summer. It's really hard to do that, and I certainly understand this. So thank you so much for joining us. And, if you have any questions, I just want to remind you, this is a mastermind, and I would love for you to, ask any questions. In fact, we're going to have something very interactive here in just a few moments. So as I said before, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to talk just a few minutes about something that I do in my coaching and the relevance of it, so that as you're thinking about how we're getting into fall and we're getting to the point where we are thinking about our business plan for next year, I just want to give you some context for that. And then the panelists that I've invited here today are three very different loan officers. One who has been a loan officer for just a couple of years, another who is been a loan officer for several years, and then finally a loan officer who is one of the top producers in the country. So I wanted to get everyone's take on what they're doing in their business right now that differentiates them in the marketplace, whether they're working and focusing on purchases or whether they're focusing on refinances. It doesn't matter. I'm looking for ideas and tips. Now, that also means that those of you that are listening in, I'm going to be looking for your ideas and tips as well. We want to make this a real great mastermind as we're putting our business plan together for next year. What are some of the things that we could be doing differently that might sound really cool to do? So I don't care what the topic is. I'm sure that I'm going to remember some of these things as they come up as we get going, but I'm just real excited, to share some tips with one another or some ideas that make things really, really unique. And I'm especially excited for one of our guests today, Katie Weldon, to share with everyone what she is doing in her business. And we are so thankful because she is going to be joining us from her vacation. She's on vacation. So how nice is that? So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick because I want to show you this concept of a lifestyle business mastery. And this is not about my coaching. This is just how I coach. And I just want to, again, set the framework here. Lifestyle Business Mastery is a coaching program that I developed because I was honestly just real sick and tired of trying to fit my life into my business. And, I know that I'm speaking to many people when I say, that there are many times where you're out to dinner with your family and you swear you have to make that phone call. It comes in, you say, I have to take this. And what you find yourself doing is pacing outside of the restaurant while your family is creating memories inside without you. And this can be, heck, it's everywhere. I remember the games, the baseball games, where I was walking the chain link fence, talking to people on the phone and putting them on mute and then yelling, go honey, you got it. And then putting them, back off mute and having a conversation. And I just got sick and tired of always trying to squeeze my family in to my business. So I started creating my lifestyle first and then building my business around it. And so that's what this is all about. And I just want to plant a seed with you on a new idea, new concept for you to think about as we're starting to head into your business planning for next year. I'm a huge advocate that your business plan should be done by September 30th for next year, because all of the activities you're doing October, November, and December will breed your volume for next year. So your future is a series of nows. So what are you doing now for your future? Because you'll be able to see that in a couple of years or a couple of months. So it all is, the basis around this is that a life of values or with values adds value everywhere in your life. So if one of your core values is family, then I'd ask you, then why are you working till 11 o'clock every night? It's really not a core value. It's not matching, right? It's not aligning with you. So it's about your core values first, doing what you love to do first, making sure your family's taking care of, your health, your finances, everything is taken care of first. And then we fit business in around it. And I'm telling you that it can be done because I did it for years and years, working a 4-day work week and still being a mega top producer, right? And having a whole team. So it's possible. It's just putting your priorities first. So as you're looking at this chart here, I'm going to go over it quickly, and then we're going to dive right into hearing some ideas from everybody, not just on the panel, but everybody who's on the call today. So it starts with clarity, just getting real clear on your goals, right, on your expectations for yourself. I'm even to the point where I can't stand the word goals because it's too dreamy for me. But what are your expectations for yourself next year? And identifying that clarity of your message and who you want to work with, and does it align with your values, right? Those core values that we were talking about. And then it moves into your community. So what are you going to be doing with your community? Are you going to be nurturing them or neglecting them? Are you going to be working with people that complement you or people that complicate you? So it's an assessment of who is in your community and how are you going to nurture them as you go through your business life. Next is communication. What are your systems? How are you going to provide an unbelievable customer experience? Because I have news for you. Customer service is gone. It's what we do to and for people. A customer experience is how someone feels after having worked with you. So what are you going to do in your perfect loan process or in your follow-up with your referral partners to create this feeling of wanting to work with you? But we have to make sure that it's very, very efficient for us to execute and very effective for the receiver. So those are things you want to be thinking about in your business plan. Next is credibility. And under credibility, it's what are you doing to level up you? Personal development that you have, using Mortgage Coach and the total cost analysis as much as you possibly can. How do you become a market influencer? This is everything we've been talking about over the last several weeks about video marketing and leveling up and working in Instagram more than Facebook these days, right? And now we have Instagram TV, right? Or IGTV or TVG, IG, whatever it's called. And we have all these things that we want to create this market influencing so that you can become the expert in your market. And serve your clients, not sell your clients. You become into a position where you serve. And another comparison is you also become in demand instead of on demand, right? And you get to choose when you work and who you work with, rather than being this cat on a marble floor all the time, all weekend long, and telling people that you're available 24/7. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes that's good. For the right people in your community, that's great. You should be available for them as much as you possibly can. And then last but not least is coaching. And it's mentorship, it's coaching. It's getting you out of the busyness of the business and getting into really, really honing in on your priorities so that you can actually accomplish what you want to accomplish in the time frame you've decided is important to you because of your lifestyle. So if you need to leave every day at 3, then figure out a way that you can make your priorities so that you can get everything done in a laser focused manner within the time frame that you have, so that you can get on to the more fun things of life. And really it's just so powerful because we just put everything on the back burner that is so precious to us, that fulfills us. And we just don't get to it. And that's where we have all this burnout. So that's what I just wanted to share with you on the lifestyle business mastery, so that you have an idea of that. So that said, I know there's going to be some comments on that, and I'll kind of manage some comments here, but I want to start with saying hi to everybody. So our speaker or our panelists, first of all, need to take yourselves off mute and make sure that you are on here. So there we go. John came off first, so we'll just start with John. How are you, John?
Doing great. Thanks, Jen.
Good, yeah. So John's in my market. He's in Northern Virginia, and tell us just for a brief second about you and your practice.
All right, so I'm a pretty new loan officer. I've really been an originating LO for about a year and a half now. I was a long time assistant, but right now I'm really using. I'm at the point in my career where I'm really taking an individual approach to each client, and I like to think of it that I'm, you know, giving my love to them, where I'm taking the time to really find out what is the best solution for them for their mortgage.
That's awesome. So for you, it's taking, it's the individual approach. So what you're really doing, if we, think back to what I just talked about, is that you're really focusing on nurturing your community and showing them the love and care that you have for them and truly serving them so that it becomes a revolving door of referrals for you because of the experience that they're getting.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably a little bit more available than some of the more senior loan officers because, again, it's just that point in the career that I feel like it needs to happen until I can grow to a point where I have enough coming in automatically. And yeah, like Mortgage Coach makes it, of course, really easy to set up a loan, copy it over a couple of times, and really play with it to find out a really great solution for the clients that the other lenders aren't thinking of. Because that's the other thing I think of. At this point in my business, a lot of the referrals are probably shopping a lot. I mean, everyone's getting shopped a lot, but coming up with that unique solution for somebody or really pointing something out to them that's going to help them in the long run has really helped bridge the gap for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and, again, that gets into the credibility where, especially with total cost analysis, is that anyone who's a mortgage coach, can run circles around other lenders as far as the presentation to the client and strategizing and showing the client really what the total cost is going to be of the loan over the life of the term that they think they're going to have the loan, not the home, right? And so I think that's real key. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. We'll come back to you and ask some more questions. So Katie, tell us a little bit about your practice. And where are you, by the way? And I know where you're at, but tell everybody where you're at. Tell us a little bit about your practice. And then we'll go on to Mark, and then we'll come back and ask you some questions about some tips that you all have for everybody.
Okay, so I am located in Spencer, Massachusetts. I have been in the business for 6 years. I apologize, I had some technical difficulties at first, so I don't know if you had tried to call me out earlier. But basically, I went from a bank to a mortgage company, and I've learned a lot along the way. Jen's my personal coach as well, and I'm just excited to share some things with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and last but not least, Mark Demetrio. So how are you today, Mark?
Hi, how are you? How you doing?
Good, good.
Excellent.
It's only been a couple days since we saw each other, but it's good to see you. So tell us a little bit about your practice, and then we'll come back and ask you some tips later.
Okay, so I'm doing this about 14 years, actually, as of August 1st, 2019 here, 14 years. So it's been an exciting road. A lot of things have happened, but I think the core of the success of really anyone is longevity, in the sense of doing the right thing for your clients, being an expert right from the beginning to the end, and making sure the service from the time you talk to them right through the closing is just an experience that they couldn't get anywhere else. And that's really been the secret to my success. So everyone I've connected with, it's having that upfront expertise conversation with them, the knowledge-based guidance. I call it educated persuasion, not selling. You're discussing with them, so you're leading them in the right direction, but with knowledge and with the good heart and good mind. So you kind of get them early on, and then through the process, making sure that the whole process again is flawless, and right to the end at the closing. And you want them to leave with the best experience possible, because a lot of loan officers, or really anyone in the business, sometimes they lose sight of the fact that every loan you close is worth 5 loans for the lifetime of that person. So when you close a loan, it's never about the money or about the fame and glory of that loan. It's about doing such a great job for that person that they'll come back to you and refer others for their lifetime at least 5 more times. So that to me has been an explosive multiple. So when I look at clients, not only is it important from that aspect, but the referral side of what they could do, or getting them as a happy client, that builds my sales force. Like, my happy clients and their referrals are my sales force. That's really how I've always kept the train going here in a great direction. So as you continue to build it, It's just, they come, build it and they will come. It happens.
Right. Okay, so we're going to stay with you for just a second here, Mark. So, one thing that some people need to know about you is that you're an author, right? And so that's how we actually met. We were both speaking on a panel at a conference, about authors. And, I know that this is something that's, you're extremely proud about. And we just want to mention the name of the book so that everybody could go and grab the book, because it's super powerful. And I know that it is the catalyst for, not the book itself, but the content that your grandfather gave you in life and success is the catalyst for your practice. So tell us the name of the book. And then I want to get into some very specific things about your practice that I know about that I want to share.
Great. Thank you for that, Jen. Yes. So I will touch on it for 30 seconds here. It's not about my book today, but thank you for that. So the book is called Lessons from My Grandfather, Wisdom for Success in Business and Life. And it is available on Amazon, and it's under hard copy, soft copy, ebook, and the Audible book just came out yesterday. So thank you. So it's very exciting. It's done very well, won lots of awards, but the bottom line is definitely go out and purchase it, because you'll get all the inner secrets of what's made me successful really in life. And the reason I wrote it is because my grandfather, he basically understood the secret to life as a human being, as a person, as a friend, as a business associate, as just a mentor to others. So he grasped the life that he wanted, and he made it happen for himself from a boy that had nothing. So he basically shared all this wisdom and insight with me through his lifetime, and had him for 37 years till he died at 97, which was a blessing. So because of my successful track in life and his, I just needed to write the book to share his wisdom and insight with the world, to empower, motivate, inspire them like I have been, to give them the advantage that I had. And that's it, plain and simple. So the book truly is an excellent book for loan officers, really anybody in sales, college students, up to people that are 90, because then they can understand how to be a better mentor and enjoy life and everything else. So yes, that's the bottom line. So there's a lot of secrets to success in the book.
That's awesome. Yeah, and of course, and it aligns with, what I've been talking about is just having this great lifestyle, and that's allowed you to have a beautiful lifestyle with your girls. And I think that's wonderful. So, all right, well, thank you for sharing that. So now let's get into the meat of this, something unique about your business. So first of all, you're a top 1%er. You're in the top, how many are you in the top? Have you been in the top 200?
Well, yeah. So basically, I broke, I think, 114 one year, top 1% every year for literally 14 years in a row, except for the first 6 months when I started. And I hit 218 last year, and 114 one year. But always, I do between 50 and 75 million a year consistently, myself personally.
Yeah.
So depending on the year, when you have big booms or not, it's pretty much been a steady flow of doing good numbers. So.
And so where are you calling from, even though I'm sure everybody's already guessed, but tell us where you're located.
Yeah, definitely on the East Coast. My dad's from the Bronx. I happen to be from New Jersey. So I have the Jersey, New York accent, I guess. But yeah, I'm from New Jersey, North Jersey, about 30 minutes outside the city.
Yeah.
And I'm actually not Italian, I'm Greek. What?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah, and he actually knows some of the housewives too, which is pretty fun.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So I want you to share about your practice, because it's very unique in who your sources of business are. Yeah. So share with us about that.
I will share. So for me, I've been doing this, like I said, 14 years, but before that, I have a very strong financial background. I was a chief operating officer of a financial company and financial planner, things like that before, for many years. So I have a very big following in the professional world, accountants, attorneys, other financial planners that were colleagues or friends in the business. Some bankers, a lot of bankers that I know from being in the business plus back then. So for me, my business model was really never to go after realtors. And I have a handful of them, a couple of dozen like everybody else, probably 5 or 6 that are really solid referral sources in a sense. But for me, it's always been about the professional base. I look at myself as an advisor to advisors. So when I work with all those people I mentioned, it's really being an advisor to them for their clients, so that they have someone they can rely on that's an expert in this space. So when their client has a question, they know that they're in good hands. It's going to make them look good. And the client's going to end up thanking them for referring them to me. So it's kind of like that's the mindset. So I've always been someone that approaches these advisors, not like, hey, can you please send me business? Or, I'm a good mortgage guy. It's let me be an expert for you, for your clients, so that I'm a resource. But it's also not about that. I position myself with my advisors that you don't have to just send me a lead. If you have a client going through, another bank, or they're having a hard time somewhere, you can call me for advice, or have your client call me. Like, I've always positioned myself as an expert in that way. Like, I don't have to get a loan or deal every time you go on to call me or have a client call me. So I kind of, they like that. So I really am just truly a resource, an expert in this space that's there for them and their clients. And business comes in, like that.
Yeah, and I know that you're really, really working your database very hard right now.
Yes.
As most people are. Most people
Yes.
are working very hard, but I know that you are working very hard. And, I have to tell you that, well, first of all, Mark was with me this past weekend, for a workshop that I had. And something that you said, you probably don't even remember, but you said, we always tend to say, oh, it's a refi boom. Thank God it's a refi boom, that type of thing. And you said, what a blessing we have to have a refi boom and to have had the nurturing that you've done with your database over so many years. Really, I'm trying to think of the word here, but benefit, I'll just say benefit, really benefit you. And those that did not nurture their database aren't really realizing the gratitude and the great results of this refinance boom. So would you tell us just a little bit about how you communicate with and maybe what you do in the client appreciation world with your clients and partners?
Right. Yeah, right on. So for all these years, I've actually, had a service that I use that I send out 2 emails a month, like a blast email kind of thing, with really a message about whether it's a real estate mortgage update or just something about credit repair or something about, the markets, just kind of staying in touch just for the touches. But I've made sure that all of my clients, all my prospects, everyone I know in my world is kind of in this database. And so over the years, I've stayed in touch with people. And when you now have the situation where we're getting into a refi boom now, all these touches for years, these people remember that you're in the business, and that's invaluable. And that's one thing that I do regularly. So this way they know where to call. But also for me, I think the way, you approach your business in a sense is having, over the years, I have a watch list. So when rates are up higher, like all the last 2 years, and people are calling saying, hey, I have 4.25, what can you do for me? I'm like, well, rates are 4.75 right now. I'm sorry, there's really nothing we can do. Let's wait. But now I have a watch list that I've had for the last couple of years. So when rates drop like this, as they have 3 or 4 times in the last 14 years, I just attack that list right away. Remember you wanted, 3.75, I have it, So that's one thing. But really, minding the database part is, because I have thousands of loans I've closed, I can run a report real quick and tell me everyone that's over, 4.5 and above. So right away, I'll work 14-hour days and start attacking these people. And whether it's, take them 4.5 to 3.5 on a 30, or really go 4.5 to like a 20 or 3.25 or something that really makes sense. I try to sell lower amortizations for people too. So it's kind of educating them on options. So maybe they have 4.25 on a 30. And you may think, well, they're good right now, why bother? But I've sold people down to 3.5 on a 20-year fixed. Even though it's a 3/4 drop, I'm dropping the amortization. It makes sense. So, and maybe credit some closing costs if need be. But every client, I'll look at every client, how can I work this? Or maybe I'll call them and oh, perfect timing. I'm looking for college education money. I can do a cash out now. So it's just, I could work 24 hours a day trying to get to everybody, but it's just more of the consultational conversation with them. See if you have a little bit to go with, but then figure out where it can go from there. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, nonstop in this refi boom market.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to come back to you and ask you about the client events that you do, because they're not actually just client events. They are your referral partner events. And I think that there's an aspect of it that is extremely unique that I want to share. Okay. So everybody hang on, because he's going to come back in a moment. So again, I just want to remind everyone, please, if you have questions, please start putting them in there and I'll be happy to answer them. So Katie, let's bring you back on, and I want to ask you to share about the lease option. And I want you to go into a little bit of detail, because some people in our industry aren't quite sure, how to deal with lease options or land contracts when they come to them, because they're saying, I don't really know how to document that file. And I don't want you to get into that much technicality, but tell us how that has changed and positioned you in your marketplace very uniquely, so that you're getting business as a result of that.
Yeah, so I had tried to kind of partner with some investors, and I wasn't making much traction. So I started to let them know that if they're looking to streamline their portfolio or get rid of any properties in the future, and they wanted me to meet with any of their long-term tenants to see if they would be able to purchase the home, to send them my way ahead of time, and I would prepare them to be in a position where they could buy that home. So what that's allowed me to do is help them purchase their next property and really work with them on a long-term plan based on what their goals are and what their future plans are to purchase more properties or sell them off and retire, whatever the case may be. So it's put me in front of all of their renters as well. So if there's a 4-family home, I'm getting in front of 4 separate groups of clients. And it really allows them to also save money. What?
Yeah, that's very popular these days to have multiple families in one home, you know, especially in high, you know, market areas. And here you are up in, you know, Massachusetts. And so, you know, so what ends up happening is that you are doing your own client acquisition for the benefit of your realtors.
Yep, absolutely. And then I have had some that were approved, but someone else bought that home who was also renting it. So then I'm able to hook them up with a realtor and help them purchase maybe a multifamily on their own, maybe a single family. And I've also helped the investor avoid having to coordinate selling a home when you have multiple tenants that you're dealing with and trying to organize that. So, and save money because they don't need a realtor. So everyone's, you know, feeling like they're getting a good deal. I'm usually rolling in closing costs so that the tenant doesn't have to come up with a ton of extra money, and really everyone's happy in the end.
Yeah, I love that. So I want to make sure that we bring that back again and make sure that everybody understands this, because it's multifaceted. You know, you're talking to people that are renting a home, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're renting a home.
Yep.
And in one case, you can say, who's your landlord? I'd love to have a conversation with them, because maybe they have other properties and I can talk to the other tenants and get everyone into a home buyer club, is what I, you know, prefer to call, instead of credit repair or passive clients. We put them into a home buyer club and have a series of classes, you know, for those home buyers. And so you could bring that person, that renter, into a home buyer club. You could bring other people that are renting from that same investor into a home buyer club. You then could, the weave that's here is just amazing. You then could ask that landlord who else they know who are investors and get all of those people. And even if he wants to sell that particular home to that rentor, they don't have to use a realtor, which from a realtor perspective would be, oh, I don't like that. But the great thing about it is you have all these other people that are looking to buy, and perhaps the one who is renting isn't buying that particular home. Maybe they're going to buy something else. And so now you're able to include the real estate agent into all of the client acquisition that you've done. And it makes you invaluable, because as we know, our realtors, one of the things they want is, what are you going to do for me? What kind of referrals are you going to give to me? So I love that. Yep. Now, the last part about it is that you do a lot of multifamily loans, which I know most loan officers probably haven't even done more than a 2-unit in their lives. So
I do a lot of FHA financing on multifamily homes, so that people aren't having to bring a ton of money down. They're not needing a lot of reserves, and it's a really good way to get them started owning their first home.
That's awesome. I wonder how many of us have done that before, you know, and gone into multifamily, because for you, that means more income. For the realtor, it means higher sales, right? I mean, it's just all the way around.
Absolutely.
It's win-win. Yeah, absolutely.
And for my clients, it means that they're qualifying for properties they wouldn't otherwise qualify for. You know, that's really helped a lot of my clients get into a property when for a single family, they just weren't qualified for enough to get them something that was really livable.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Well, and thank you for sharing that you're using the FHA portion of it. So, you know, when we talk about that credibility factor that we're, you know, in the lifestyle business management or business mastery, this credibility is an area where you can level up your expertise in multifamily and in FHA multifamily as well, and in investors, to really understand how they tick and how they work. And you could start doing a home buyer club. I mean, there's so many things that you could start doing. And the one thing I will always tell you, and I know that people that work with me will say, is, you know, I'm giving you all these great ideas. Please don't try to go do everything. You know, it's like the first of the year when you have all of your New Year's resolutions. You know, you can't stop drinking, stop smoking, see more family, start working out. You know, you can't do all those things at one time. You need to take these things and align them with your values. You know, make sure that this is something you're passionate about, before you start going down that road and doing this particular niche. But I absolutely love that particular niche. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Katie. We really appreciate that. We'll come back.
My pleasure.
Come hang in there, John. So John, so what are you doing that's different from some of the people in your office, maybe, you know, to get business? What are you doing client events? Are you teaching classes? Maybe you're at the point where you're thinking about doing those things and you're learning some wonderful things here today, but tell us what you're doing, you know, as a new loan officer, aside from nurturing your database that's out there on a marketing perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've definitely thrown a lot of darts at the wall over the last year or so, trying to figure out what works. But there's two things where I've been really consistent in, at least this year. So I have a good relationship with a local broker here, and on Tuesdays we go out and do a Tuesday broker open tour bus. So awesome. I drive her around, and she invites out, you know, maybe one or two of her realtors, and she gets to go out and recruit new agents, and I get to pretty much do the same thing. So that's been a great way to get out there and meet people. And because I'm coming to these broker opens with realtors, I feel like it's a little bit more friendly of an environment than the times when I go out on my own and I'm walking in as a loan officer.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I've done that I just get fantastic feedback from, and it just feels good to do, is I've really dived into video. So I've sent out like almost 700 BombBomb videos since I've started. I'm just every major message I have gets a video. I've done a lot of videos on Facebook, which has really helped me brand. Even though I can't say I've gotten a deal directly from one of my Facebook videos, but I just went to like a wedding the other week, and some of the guys that I had only met one time previously were coming up to me and saying that they watched a couple of my videos and things like that. So I just kind of feel like it's a good thing to put out there.
Yeah, and again, that gets back into the credibility, right? Where you're trying to, you know, dominate the market, where people come up and say to you, "Hey, I know you," and they don't really know you, but they feel like they know you, and I think that's incredible. You know, and BombBomb's a great tool to be able to do that. It's so flexible. You know I personally have done BombBomb's, BombBomb videos in my car right after a closing. I've walked out of a meeting with a client and done a BombBomb video and sent it a little bit later. I think, and you can do it with networking. There's all kinds of ways, but, you know, kudos to you and congratulations, you know, being a year and a half in and over 700 videos, when there are many of us on this call that have been in the business for 20, 30 years and still haven't done a video, right? So I think that's wonderful. Yeah, thanks for that idea. And, you know, the caravan is really cool. You know, one of the things that I had always said was, you know, that I don't take lightly with referrals from realtors, is that we know that they've been working with them for months sometimes, and sometimes years, right? And they're in the car with them, and if they're not in the car and they're, you know, caravanning and following one another, they have so much time with the client, and they've been able to develop this really strong relationship with the client that when we get injected on the finance side, if we're not taking that time, you know, and Zillow just came out with a report on this, that the average loan officer spends 8 seconds building rapport, which is really, really sad. So if you want to, get them in a little more and not have them shop, you know, think about spending a little more time building rapport so that you don't have to spend as much time trying to keep them with you, right, and convincing them. And so I love that you're doing this caravan with them. It brought up the fact that I remember doing this. We used to do a whole bus, and I'd speak on the bus and hang on while we're doing around corners when it was really popular, because properties were sitting on the market for a longer period of time. But I love that you're doing that with just a handful of people. And while you're doing that, you're creating this wonderful relationship and nurturing, and they're getting to know you. Because what we know in sales is that people work with people they know, like, and trust. But a lot of times in lending, they know what we do, but not who we are. And we can't get to trust without them knowing who we are. So in having that cute little, that caravan, you're really getting to know who they are. And I love that you're expanding your business as well. you know, in the process of doing that. So thank you so much for sharing that as well. All right, so everybody, if you have any questions, please get the questions in here. If you have detailed questions, we want to get those questions answered. And I'd also like to see your comments. You know, are you learning something? Are you getting an idea or two from someone this quick on this call that you could perhaps implement in your practice, you know, this year or looking into next year? So, Mark, I want to thank you, John. I want to talk to you, Mark, about your client appreciation party. I keep calling that, but it's not really that. I know you do something a little different, and you might call it different names. You know, I used to do, and I've told you about this. I have to get the order right. Women, weapons, and wine. I have to get that right order because we don't want to drink wine and then right?
Yeah.
So in September, which is National Realtor Safety Month every year, what I did is, you know, I live on 21 acres, and so I brought women out to my house with an NRA instructor and taught them how to use a gun. And I felt like, you know, regardless of what your feelings are, you know, you need to know how to pick that up, and just in case something were ever happened to you, and especially as women, you know, sitting in an open house or broken open by yourself. And so I brought all these women out. Of course, they were my realtors and my financial planners and attorneys and whatnot. And, you know, we learned how to shoot guns, and then we had some wine and enjoyed each other's company. So you know, just another idea of something fun. So tell us what you do with your wine and wisdom event.
First of all, I think I need to be a bartender at your women's only event because I like to be the only man there.
Okay. You sure do.
That'd be good for me.
Yeah.
And I'm single, so it's okay. I can say that I'm not married.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, as you know. Basically what it is it's actually a event I have. It's for my referral sources. And it's my way of thanking them and giving back to them and helping them to connect and do business with my crowd that's there. So what I do, is about 4 times a year, I have these wine tasting events, and basically the introductory email goes out to all of them in my group. I have a special group for this. This is my A group. And it basically says, I'm having another one of my wine tasting events. You know why I do these events? To give back to you as a referral source or a friend. I want to be able to connect you with the crowd that's there. And as you know, I walk around introducing people to each other so you can do business and build great friendships. So I do this, and maybe 20 to 40 people come, and it's a relatively inexpensive evening, and they walk away with contacts. I do it at a great venue where they have wine and specialty foods and beers and all sorts of things. So they always walk out buying stuff, so the owner of the place is happy. So it's really a win-win. It's really wonderful to get my name out, to show my support. I'm not asking them for business. It's my wage to give back and thank them. So it's really done very well. I've gotten tremendous feedback from people that have done business for years and made a ton of money by me connecting them. And I'm also just a big connector in life. I connect people all the time. It's my way of giving back, and also it puts goodness out there, and these people are happy to refer business back and think of me when something comes up. So it's just something I do regularly as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I was, you know, taking a couple of notes and stuff. You know, I love that you're connecting people. There's a book called Mr. Schmooze. It's Schmooze. It's a very quick read, but it's Mr. Schmooze. And, you know, it's a gentleman who does that very thing. You know, he is there to serve everyone and to make all those connections. And, you know, one of the things that I like with it from a priority management standpoint, you know, time management, is it's a one-to-many in making connections. You know, so all day long, we're going through the day connecting people, right? And asking people who they want to be connected with, and we're asking for connections ourselves, and we're doing this one-off sort of thing. But it's really nice when you can bring a group together that has some similarity in what they're looking for, so that you're not reaching for straws and trying to connect them when they're there together. You know, maybe they've got some type of commonality. And, you know, so as I'm thinking about this, I'm saying, that's great for you. What if someone's watching this and saying, hey, but I have kids, you know, so why can't you do something for them? You know, have sangria with the kids, maybe, as long as you had a driver, right?
Yeah, okay.
But doing something where there's that commonality as well, so that you're reaching every aspect of your database to be able to make those connections. And I think that that's extremely valuable, because people love to work with people that are connectors just as much They love to work with people that will get the job done,
Right,
and will
right.
give them a referral. They love to work with people that are connectors. So in having said that, what type of, I mean, do you have any idea of how much money you've made from that as well? Because I imagine that people are so thankful that they want to reciprocate. I can tell you from my own experience that people who couldn't make it and it felt like they should send me a referral, even
Oh,
if they
that's
couldn't
funny.
make it to the event.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because, having, all the things that I do, right? It's a little bit of a lot of things, right? So it's sponsoring events. It's putting my information in newsletters, whether my church or a charity or, excuse me, or a chamber of commerce, whether it's, speaking at events, whether it's meeting people for lunch, breakfast, or dinner and ask them how I can help you, who you're looking to connect with, whether it's having this event, helping my clients with things. So, and there's more than this. So it's a lot of everything. So it's hard to say it's only one thing, but I'll tell you the appreciation from that event, because it's solely really about them, to connect them and do what I can to, and make them walk away with contacts or business. So they're very appreciative, and it continues to build my brand. I'm a brand, right? An influencer, an expert, a networker, whatever you want to call me. That's what I am. So people know me as that. So these are the kind of people, like you mentioned, people want to align with me because, again, I'm a person that, can be likable, trustable, friendship, a connector, all those words you want to use. I'm a valuable asset to them, whatever term you want to use. So for them, being aligned with me in any way, shape, or form is good. By knowing that I have them in my graces to help them, it's good. And business definitely comes out of it. There's no question about it. I mean, I have one CPA and attorney who are pretty high-end, like trust and estate people. They've done, when I'm not kidding, millions. My friend told me a couple of weeks ago, like last month, he told me, Mark, I gotta tell you, this past 12 months, I've literally had revenue coming up over $1 million from your connection.
Yeah.
$1 million into the firm.
I
Because you have that crazy high-end clientele. So the bottom line is, by doing something as simple as this, find a specialty wine place, a specialty beer and liquor food place, someplace to have a little wine tasting event, work out a deal with the restaurant owner to get a discount on it because you're gonna bring in good people. And really it benefits everybody. So it's just thinking outside the box. But I want to touch on the family one. I haven't done this, but I know people that have, is rent out a movie theater when a good movie's coming out, maybe not one of the really high-end ones, would be very expensive maybe, but rent out a movie theater, have like a friends and family client appreciation day. And you rent out a small movie theater and have a showing for a movie for the kids and their family. So there's a lot of things you can do. But it's that appreciation, like how appreciative would they be if you have them and their kids come out, maybe some of their kids' friends, rent the whole place out, little 250-seat movie theater, stuff like that, to your point before about family.
I love it. Yeah, and I love that. And I'm smiling because, on our property, what we've done is we've gotten bales of hay, and then they become the seats. And we bought one of those screens. They're only like $300-400, even if that much. But we bought one of those big blow-up screens, and we showed a movie on the
that's
screen.
good. That's awesome.
Under the stars on our property.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, and so all I'm doing is I'm just saying yes, and then guess what else you could do? And that's the whole idea for today's call, is to take these ideas and say yes, and what else could I do? Maybe you do exactly what Mark is saying. Maybe you think of an angle that would work for you, because the whole idea here again is for me to get ideas planted in your heads right now as you're putting your business plan together for next year that is going to align with you. And Mark, I love also is this is that clarity piece. What fulfills you, and knowing you as well as I do, your heart's filled when you can do that. When you can have an event like that just connects everybody, and you're running around and you got to meet you and you got to meet this, that's fulfilling to you. So how do you get more of that as often as you possibly can? And that's where it's creating this lifestyle business that we're talking about. So thank you so much for sharing
You're
that.
welcome. You're awesome. You're welcome.
Awesome. Okay, I'm still waiting for questions, people. And I'd also, again, don't just want your questions, but what idea do you have floating out there that you'd like to share with everybody too? And so if you want to raise your hand and you want to pop on and we can answer some of those questions, I'm happy to do that. Or not answer those questions, but hear your story. But if you have questions, we want to do that as well. So, I say all the time in our coaching calls here every week that it's not a Netflix movie. This isn't watch us and then go on your day, but book the time that you're spending on this call and then block time to implement what you're hearing so that you can move your business forward and move that needle on your business. So I'm going to go back to John for just a second. So John, what do you think, what have you heard from Mark and Katie? And I guess before I ask that question, you know, one of the things I learned a long, long time ago is that as you progress up, you know, into, I wouldn't want to call it the ivory tower, but when you go up the elevator, right, in success, and you're going up that ladder of success, a lot of times it is very helpful to go back down to that ladder, back down, you know, take the elevator back down and grab new blood and take it with you, because we get so wrapped up in how we've done things for years and years and years. And so I'd like to hear what you're hearing here, John, that is inspiring you and that thinking about next year and how you're going to put this in play.
Yeah, so Mark, I really loved how you said that, you know, you're just known as an influencer in your market. And that's a big, it's a big thing. A big goal for me is to kind of become that, you know, just being a reliable source, not only for information, but being able to connect people in different ways, is really important. And again, you know, in our environment right now where, you know, there's tons of different rates out there and tons of, you can push a button to get a mortgage if you want, like, being able to be that reliable, that source of information for everybody, where they're going to call you, not just to get a mortgage answer, but to get all types of financial advice is pretty huge. And then for Catherine, I think what I heard from her is that she really is developing a niche, right? That she's kind of gone into these multifamily homes deals and figured out, become a little bit of a specialist in that. And so I think the way the market is right now, it's kind of like in our area in Northern Virginia, at least, it's kind of like a late stage seller's market. And so one of the things that I've been planning it out and trying to get involved in is be a renovation expert in my company. And because in that late stage seller's market, we're just going to have a lot of homes that aren't turnkey, aren't ready to be going on the market. And we don't have a huge inventory here. So I feel like there's a little bit of a niche there that I can kind of hit on.
That's awesome. Katie, how about you? What are you learning today? And did you think of any other tips that you might want to share with us? You're on mute. There you go.
Sorry, I'm connected to my phone, so I keep forgetting to unmute that. So I actually had the pleasure of listening to Mark speak for a little bit last week at Cracking the Top Producer Code. So I love the idea of having a partner appreciation event. And this year I'm actually organizing a family event at an apple orchard. So able to kind of pay for what people actually use, which is great. You don't have to prepay for anything. So I'm buying people bags, you know, to go pick apples and just kind of saying hello as they come in, and able to offer cider and donuts and, you know, something very simple. So I'm trying to do similar things. I know how hard it was when I first started and trying to figure out, you know, what's the best way of doing things. So I just think that what John's doing with those relationships and, you know, working as partners is so important right from the beginning, because I didn't really know that I should do that until probably I was 5 years in and realized, you know, I'm trying to give business, I'm trying to get business, but I didn't really have partners like I do now. And it's so much more valuable. One other tip I will give is that I had messaged a bunch of realtors when I got back from the Cracking the Top Producer Code, and just said, you know, I'm looking to partner with a few local realtors, and I thought of you as someone who's, you know, growing their business by leaps and bounds and want to create a partnership. Would you be open to meeting every other week and to kind of mastermind on what's working, what we're seeing in the marketplace, and how we can help each other? And everyone said yes. So now I'm going to have recurring meetings with them so that we can just, even if we're both just making calls at that time, just something that is helpful to their business.
That's awesome. I love that you took action.
Yeah.
I love that you took action. Although I didn't, you know, again, didn't expect anything less, from you. And really, really, it's really, really good to hear. And, okay, so what I want to share right now is, I was actually just, the reason I had like a little blank stare there is, again, Katie, I want to say thank you so much for taking time from your vacation to fill in. This was all last minute, so that everybody knows. I got a lovely text from our team last night saying, hey, we're not all going to be on the call. And I said, okay, what am I going to do? And I reached out to these lovely people and asked for their help to help me get through today so that you all didn't have to listen to me all day and or all hour. But I want to say thank you so much for taking time from your vacation to fit us in. I appreciate that.
No problem.
And, John, they just had a baby. How long ago? A week ago?
Oh.
Over 3 months.
3 months, yeah. So they're struggling with that, and so thank you for taking time to come in to do that. And Mark, I know you're just always busy and speaking and out shaking things up, and I just can't express enough how appreciative I am that I have people that I can call on, and I can really I don't know, just it fulfills me to know that I have people that are willing to drop everything and help another group out, and that really is very, very important. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. I'm kind of do like a fast round with the three of you and ask you, what are you doing in your practice to increase your productivity? What are some techniques or tips that you have to increase your productivity? Because this Friday afternoon call is all about productivity. It's part of Darren Hardy's productivity program, and we want to, ask you, what are you doing to be productive? What's a tip or a trick that you can share with us? And so, Katie, since we have you on here, why don't we just go ahead and start with you?
Sure. So I just got a new phone, and one thing I did was I didn't download Facebook. I only downloaded Facebook Messenger because I do have a lot of interaction on Facebook with my phone, and I may end up downloading it again because Facebook Live and things like that. But I have found that with it not being there, I'm less likely to get sidetracked. So I don't know if there's maybe a Facebook Live app that I could download to avoid like actually being on Facebook and scrolling through, because it is really easy to get kind of sucked into that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And, a lot of people, I noticed, I was thinking about this last night. It was, late in the afternoon. I was thinking, I hardly have any emails where I used to have tons of emails, but I am just a busy little beaver in my, texting and in my instant messaging, especially. And I'm still learning that myself, on the instant message. I mean, I'm very techie, but on the instant messaging, I'm still learning how I can forward things and copy things and, pull things out of it. Someone sent me a link today, and unless I'm on my phone, or unless I'm on my computer, I can't grab that link and actually do something with it the way that I would maybe put it in an email or something like that. So that's a really good idea. Yeah, it's kind of, because we get excited. You see 250 things on the little F there, and you're like, ooh, people like me. What's going on? And you want to go see what's going on. And it is very distracting. So thank you. That's a great one. And hopefully Facebook will listen to this since we're doing Facebook Live. In fact, actually, I have a friend who works at Facebook here in Northern Virginia, and she's the PR manager, or the director of PR. So I'm going to have a conversation with her this weekend about, hey, how do we pull Facebook Live right out of there and not be part of it? So thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Facebook Live app would be great.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. John, what about you?
So I've really tried to focus on single tasking recently, and I've turned off a lot of notifications. So I don't get my email notifications on my phone or even on my computer anymore, just so that when I'm working on something, I'm not going to get that pop-up message. I figure phone calls or text messages are usually a little bit more urgent, but to at least kind of cut out a few distractions has been the biggest thing for me as far as productivity goes.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think most people know that my husband's in the mortgage business, and we were working in the same room yesterday, which doesn't happen very often because I work from home and he works, in an office. But he was here, and he's deaf, so he has the volume way high on his laptop. And it was ding, ding, ping, ping, ding, ding, and I was like, doesn't that drive you nuts? Doesn't that give you angst doing that? So I think you're smart in making that change. I don't know about him, but you're really smart in kind of turning all that off so it doesn't bother you, every second of the day. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So Mark, what about you? What are you doing to be productive?
Yes, so this is a great topic. So basically, for myself and whenever I speak, I tell people you got to look at your time as worth $1 million a minute. I don't care how much money you make per minute, just you make $1 million a minute, that's my new rule for you. So everything in my life that I touch, I look at it and I tell people as well, is this the highest and best use of your time? So I'm a very big proponent of outsourcing my stuff, whether it's to my 3 full-time staff or to assistants I have elsewhere, or people that do stuff for me outside, or travel coordinator. Like, I'm just continuing to pare back my life. I tell my staff, less CCs, don't CC me on stuff unless it's absolutely urgent. Don't ping me during the day. That's why we have morning meetings every day about my board, so you can make your notes and bother me in the morning about it. I mean, bother me, go over it in the morning. I tell my staff the same thing. Don't CC each other. We have a morning meeting for that reason. If it's not urgent, talk about it in the morning. So it's all about, basically being more productive. I want to focus on sales and marketing and speaking and events, and that's my goal. I will tell you, I also have pared back, even on my personal Yahoo email, unsubscribing to CVS to 30% off and like newsletters, and I'm continuing to pare back my life in every aspect. So it's just continuing to get more focused. Like I'm, as you are as well, I'm very busy with a lot of things. I have a lot of buckets constantly. And as you know, I focus on that bucket 100%, next bucket 100%, whatever it is. So being productive is essential. I'm very organized, making your lists, working your plan. Like, it's all about that efficiency and time management and organizational skills. To be productive in any career and be successful, you have to be organized. And being organized is also being productive and cutting out the clutter. So you got to continue to work your systems, right, until they're just streamlined. So all these things touch on a lot of what we're talking about, but this is how you get to be very productive. And use your 24 hours wisely. Sleep 6, get your exercise and meditation workout in for your brain and your mind, and use the other time wisely. So pick and choose how you want to use your day and your hours, and think about how successful you want to be. Your family, friends, business, life,
Yeah. Yeah, all those categories. I love that. And, I remember I've actually heard you say, that you're worth $1 million a minute. And, it's a mindset. That's a mindset, because it doesn't matter what you're worth per minute. Now, obviously, when we get down to the tactics of hiring and outsourcing, you want to make sure that you're outsourcing someone who makes less than you, not more than you.
Right.
That you're paying them a lesser amount than what you make per hour. But it's a mindset of saying that, my time is so valuable, and not taking on everybody else's agenda, right? So when someone calls and has an email to you, you don't have to take it. You don't have to take that call. You can say, I'm in the middle of something else right now, and I'm happy to help you, but can I give you a call back? And I don't know why we feel like we have to pull, give me your monkey, let me hold yours, let me play with your monkey, let me drag your monkey along. And it ends up becoming what I call the driving Miss Daisy syndrome, which is, you wake up in the morning with all full intent of being in control. And what ends up happening is that you get in the back seat and you let everybody else drive you around. And what you're saying is take control. That's really what it is. And part of that lifestyle business mastery is the discipline of managing your time, the discipline of working with the right people, the discipline of making sure that your brand stays in alignment, that you don't get caught up with the shiny objects and all of that. And so thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's really incredible. I have 2 things too, and it's funny you said don't bug me, but we're lenders, we get it. Don't bug me. But I always say
if it's not urgent, like if it's urgent, that's fine. But wait till the morning meeting. We meet every morning. Let's talk about it at the morning meeting, right?
Yeah. Can it wait? It cannot wait for a day like that. I call it, instead of life threatening, I call it loan threatening. If it's loan threatening, call me. If it's not loan threatening, then let's wait until the huddle. And that's a better use of time. And, usually they can fix the problem between that time that they would have knee-jerk picked up the phone. And as leaders, whether you have a team or you don't have a team, you're still a leader in the loan, with your processor and whatnot. And as a leader, you're empowering them rather than enabling them. And so you'll get out of that helicopter or that lawnmower loan officer that we have now in today's market. And another thing I just wanted to share as we have these last few minutes together with each of you is to write emails and save them. Don't send them while you're doing them, while you're writing them. Don't send them necessarily at the same time. Write emails, save them as drafts, and then just before you go to your next appointment or, you know, close up for the day, you hit the send button, you close your computer, and away you go, because it will take you 5, 6, who knows how many times long to write emails to someone, because while you're doing the second one, the other one's bouncing back and asking questions. So from a time perspective, it's really, really great to just write a bunch of emails that you're going to do, hit the save button, save them as drafts, and hit them, you know, send them all at the very last minute as you're heading out. And that will eliminate the constant distractions of you getting through emails. I hear this all the time. I can't get through my emails. Well, that's why. That's why. Yeah. So we're at the top of the hour. Mark, John, Katie fell off, but that's okay. Mark and John, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. And I hope everybody got a bunch of nuggets from this. And it was really critical that we did this from a new loan officer perspective, a medium loan officer perspective, and a top producing long-term tenured loan officer perspective as we look at our business plan for 2020. So have a great weekend, everybody.
You too, everyone else as well. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.